Hi friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and this time I'm gonna be reacting to the biggest waste of a talent in Formula One. Um uh, yeah, I saw a thumbnail, of course. Kinda unexpected, but yeah. Let's check it out.
What I would give to go back to the peak levels of delusion during preseason. Honestly,
Delusion?
life was good, riding purely on hopes and aspirations. During some photo shoots, a few of the drivers were chosen to write down what their dreams were ahead of the season, with one of those drivers being Charles Leclerc. And one of the prompts was, "This year I will be," and Leclerc says, "a world champion."
You want me to press pause?
Big pause. So let me get this straight.
Charles right now is in the fifth stage of grief. Like, I've never seen a more accurate personification of the acceptor in my entire life.
It's like this. It's part of motorsport. It's like this. It's like this. Unfortunately, it's like this. It's like this. So
It is what it is. Ah, the pain in his eyes. Oh my god.
it's like it's yeah.
The entirety of Charles' salary must go to his therapist at this point, given how much he's been put through. It feels like he's a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. Not literally, of course, but in the way he's become emotionally tied to a team that keeps hurting his career. He's been trapped in this cycle of heartbreak and then forgiveness for years. That kind of loyalty is rare, and it can also be pretty powerful. But at this point, for Charles, it's becoming unfavorable. Because the more he invests in the dream, the harder it becomes to walk away from it. The harsh reality of Formula One is that not everybody is guaranteed a shot at fighting for a championship. You can be one of the most talented drivers ever. Bad timing and unfortunate circumstances can single-handedly rob you of the opportunity to win a title. F1 has seen many extremely talented drivers who should have won a championship, but didn't. Jean Alesi, Robert Kubica, Ronnie Peterson, Jackie Ickx, and Sir Sterling Moss arguably being the best to never do it. Another legendary driver who should have been champion is Gilles Villeneuve, a man whose Formula One career was tragically cut short before he ever had the chance to fulfill his full potential. Now, I personally did.
Like, I was thinking about Charles, like, for how long does he need to be with the Ferrari? Can he just switch? Or he hopes, like almost every time when someone is leaving, like, to another team, like, that team is getting better. And he is hoping for that? It's kind of oof, you know.
Didn't have the privilege of witnessing the brilliance of Villeneuve race live. However, I'm going to quote a prominent journalist from the time to explain just how incredible he was. Enzo was always drawn to 100% races, even if they had their faults. Gilles knew only one setting, flat out, and that adhered him to Ferrari more than anything else. He was a cooperative and pleasant man who wore his heart on his sleeve. Fans adored him, not just for his speed, but for his fearlessness, his charisma, and the way he bled Ferrari red. In many ways, Charles Leclerc is his spiritual successor. Just like Gilles, Charles is blisteringly fast, emotionally raw, and deeply connected to Ferrari on a personal level. He races not just to win, but to honor the prancing horse. And just like Gilles, he's become a symbol of hope for the Tifosi, a driver whose story feels destined for greatness, even as that destiny continues to be delayed. Ferrari is the team with more history, more fans, and more passion than any other. And yet, for almost 2 decades now, it feels like that passion has been burning in all the wrong places. This is an organization constantly at war with itself. A place where politics, ego, and instability have overshadowed performance. The endless reshuffling of team principles, the confusing strategic decisions, the moments when it just looks like no one knows who's really in charge. And caught in the middle of all of this chaos is one of the most talented drivers of this generation. We often talk about generational talents in Formula One, drivers who burst onto the scene and immediately take the sport by storm. A few examples off the top of my head: Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. The obvious ones, right? The ones who not only dominate an era, but define it. Especially with Lewis and Max, who are currently still active and rewriting the history books. Most people will only truly realize just how special they are once they retire from the sport. But what about those drivers whose talent doesn't reflect their achievements? Can they also be considered generational talent?
But, like, Leclerc is still good driver. He still gets some podiums. Yeah, I understand that it would be much better if he could get like World Cup, World Champion. Point fart. But yeah, I wouldn't say like he would be the one that no one knows after he ends his career in F1. Like there is some drivers that I'm seriously checking out the F1 races, and yeah, some of them. Okay, now I know by name, like last name, but like who he is, where he is in a race, like he doesn't even showing anywhere. But like Leclerc, he is somewhere fighting for himself, like, and he is doing good. But yeah, a bit sad.
Talents, or are they merely remembered for what they could have achieved? It's a story as old as the sport itself. Many drivers in recent years have experienced a similar fate. Daniel Ricciardo's prime years were overshadowed by the dominance of Mercedes, meaning he never even got a fair shot to fight for a title. Fernando Alonso is a bit of a unique case because he's already considered a legendary driver, winning back-to-back world championships and dethroning Michael Schumacher, who was fresh off securing 5 titles in a row. But his career could have been so much more had circumstances played out differently.
Yeah.
The driver in Formula 1 is only a partial factor in determining success. Not only does the competitiveness of the car matter a lot, but also the stability of the team, how they develop the car throughout the season, how good their strategies are, and much, much more. Being the most successful team in the history of the sport comes with a lot of expectation. And ever since the glory days of Schumacher, that one championship with Kimi in 2007, and the Constructors' title in 2008, they haven't won anything. But over the past 7 years, there has been one driver, one outstanding driver who has kept that dream of a return to glory alive. If there's anyone that should bring back a championship to Maranello, it's Charles Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel, during his farewell tour in 2020, wrote this to his former teammate. To Charles, you are the most talented driver I've come across in 15 years in F1. Don't waste it. I hope that message was directed at Ferrari, but clearly they haven't listened to him. Charles Leclerc has easily been one of the best drivers this season. However, once again, the performance of the car isn't up to par with his talent. So far, he's scored 3 podiums. The first one coming in Saudi, where he typically goes extremely well. During that weekend, he went in a more extreme direction with setup that made the SF25, quote, more loose at the rear. It enabled him to extract more from the car that has generally lacked pace compared to its competitors. Then the second one came in Monaco, his best weekend of the season so far. He came tantalizingly close to putting it on pole, but Norris snatched it away right at the last gasp. Nonetheless, to even be that high up in the first place was mightily impressive, although it shouldn't really come as a surprise. History has shown just how incredible he is around the streets of Monte Carlo. And finally, the podium in Spain was great. A bit like Jeddah, it was more circumstantial since other drivers fumbled the bag. However, he was there to pick up the pieces, which is all that matters. Honorable mentions include Bahrain and Japan, but apart from that, the car simply hasn't been quick enough for him to be able to make up the difference. It's crazy to think that just last year, he was driving his heart out, storming from P19 to P3 in Abu Dhabi, hoping that it would be an
Yeah, sadly I didn't see that because I didn't watch that. But yeah,
enough to win the Constructors' Championship. But fast forward to the present day, they're now almost 200 points away from the reigning champions, McLaren. It's a sad
200?
reality, but one Leclerc has just come to expect at this point. And let me just clarify by saying, 2024 was by no means perfect. Between Canada and Silverstone, his luck just went down the drain. Engine issues in Montreal, a failed upgrade in Spain that brought back porpoising. Those issues then continued at the British Grand Prix, where Charles was testing many unconventional setups all weekend in an attempt to find the root cause of their issues. Then in the race, these guys made him drive multiple laps with intermediate tires on a dry track, while his race engineer kept gaslighting him into thinking they made the right decision. Yeah, so Charles, the rain is coming this lap. Actually, no, wait. It's coming next lap. You know what? My bad. It's coming the lap after. Okay,
oh, okay, my bad. It's even not coming like till tomorrow.
promise you this time, just one more lap until the rain arrives. Then we will be faster than everyone. And not to mention Austria when he was taken out on lap 1. However, apart from that brief period of
But like, sometimes I'm always saying like, for my opinion, I think like the team should listen more to the driver. Like sometimes, yeah, they are saying like box, you know, you need to now box, and like with Hulkenberg and his third place, like he said it when he will go in. He did fix kinda. I don't know the strategy. Strategy. Oh no! Oh no! I can't say it now. I hope you understood. Strategy. Ooh, kind of sounds right. But yeah, if it's not raining, why? So many times they are driving with the like tires for tires for a dry track. And even when the rain is kind of heavy, they are not putting the wets on, you know. So yeah, I don't understand this. Shame on you.
bad results, he was nearly flawless. Prior to Canada, he was consistently scoring podiums before his emotional breakthrough win in Monaco. And post Silverstone, he was genuinely unreal, managing his ties to perfection to claim victory in Monza. He was also phenomenal in the next race in Baku. Just a shame that McLaren's mini DRS meant he could barely close on Piastri despite having DRS. Texas was another masterclass from him. And even those races where he didn't win that went extremely under the radar, like Hungary, Zandvoort and Belgium, those were some miraculous drives, given Ferrari still hadn't finished the big upgrade package that eventually came in Monza. His drive in Abu Dhabi was one worthy of a champion. He was extremely gutted to have missed out, but the hope was that momentum would carry over into 2025. But for a long list of reasons, which we're going to delve into in a separate video, they haven't lived up to expectations. Year upon year, Ferrari continued to let him down. Now I will say that nobody's entitled to a good car in this sport. You just get what you get and do the best with the machinery you've been given. Nevertheless, it's still incredibly frustrating watching Leclerc perform literal miracles at times, but not being rewarded for it. And I know, there are highly talented drivers who've had it way worse, most notably Fernando Alonso. But at least his name will forever be etched into the history books as a double world champion, even though his skill level warranted a lot more. On the other hand, Charles is yet to be given a fair shot at fighting for the title. The 2022 season is the closest Leclerc has been to experiencing a title fight in F1. And even then, you can't even really call it a title fight. In fact, that year is arguably the biggest piece of evidence for Ferrari wasting his talent. He started out in style, winning the Bahrain Grand Prix. Those wheel-to-wheel battles with Max really made this win even more significant. This was Leclerc laying down an early season marker, reminding everyone why he's a force to be reckoned with. They went at it again in Jeddah, and this time, Verstappen came out on top. And the hope was for this to continue all season long. Charles dominated the third race in Australia, taking the first Grand Slam of his...
I'm just curious. I really don't know. For how long he is in F1? I'm not sure.
career. However, from that point forward, everything, and I mean literally everything, crumbled. Leclerc would go on to have one of the unluckiest streaks I've ever seen a driver experience live. Prime Ferrari incompetence. Every time I thought things couldn't get worse for him, somehow they did. Race after race, this guy was having problems. From poor reliability costing him wins in both Spain and Baku, and as a result of that Baku failure, he was forced to start from the back of the grid in Canada, preventing him from even challenging for the win in the first place. Then, there were the strategic blunders. Throwing away an easy win in Monaco because the pit wall couldn't read a radar, nor communicate to save their life. Then there was Silverstone, with Ferrari only pitting Sainz for new tyres under the safety car, leaving Charles out there on an old set of hard tyres. Despite being understandably upset, he still fought tooth and nail for every position. But it was inevitable that the drivers around him on fresher and softer tyres would get past. Also, that day was a rare opportunity for Ferrari to do real damage to Max's championship lead, since he sustained damage earlier in the race. And seeing Mattia Binotto wagging his finger at Charles after the race, it genuinely felt like this team were actively working against him. How can you put him through all that and then say, yeah, so I know you're mad and all, and it was us that triggered it, but don't you dare make us look bad, because Forza Ferrari. Austria was...
But like, It's even painful to watch. No, I can't. Seriously, at these moments, I don't understand how you can stay in that environment. Like it's hard. It's really rough, and it's your mental health could just go straight out of the window. Just end it.
It's a stellar performance from Leclerc, and such a dominant victory provided hope that his championship dreams weren't dead yet. But then, just one race later, France happened. Charles himself put his hands up and took accountability for the mistake. However, Ferrari once again had a part to play. Red Bull put them under pressure by pitting early to undercut. So the Ferrari strategists decided to leave their driver out as long as possible to gain a bigger tyre offset. And in the process, they want Charles to still push as close to flat out as possible, which to me was asking too much. This guy was already struggling since DEG was very high due to the temperatures. So even one small veer offline could have catastrophic consequences. And sadly for him, that's exactly how things played out. From there, he never really recovered. Ferrari trolled a few more times by putting him on hards in Hungary, Inter's on a dry track in Sao Paulo. In addition to that, they had to turn down their engines because of how unreliable they were. And the nail in the coffin, TD39. A technical directive forcing teams to raise the ride height of their cars to a mandatory limit. It was bad news for the Scuderia since most of their performance was being generated from running the car as close to the ground as possible. And as a result, Ferrari lost performance and touch with Red Bull, who outdeveloped them over the course of the year. In spite of that though, they still could have taken the title fight to the last race had they not thrown away so many points in the beginning. When Charles burst onto the scene in 2018, he was doing things that just seemed incomprehensible, pulling off feats so impressive that Ferrari had no choice but to sign him. There was simply no way they were going to miss out on a talent like this. And his arrival in 2019 was the realization of a lifelong dream. But at the same time, he was stepping into a seat heaped with pressure, an iconic legacy, the weight of a nation falling on his shoulders, and a four-time world champion as his teammate. And yet, he took it all in stride. Right from the second race in Bahrain, he looked like a veteran, near untouchable. The only thing that stopped him that day was an engine issue. That performance really set the tone for the rest of the year.
But like at these moments, like the engine, doesn't they like check every piece of the car? Like who just wanna go and drive few laps and retire? What? Of course, I don't understand how they are working and what they are doing before and stuff, but I will never understand, like, something went wrong, something is, I don't know. Maybe they're fixing one thing and suddenly the other thing is just, I don't know, bad. They are not upgrading but downgrading other one. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, I will stop it.
His rookie season wasn't enough to prove that there was something special about him. This performance silenced all the critics who claimed his promotion came too early. He wasn't there to play second fiddle to his teammate, he was there to make Ferrari his team. 2019 was the year he won over the hearts of the Tifosi, not just through his relentless speed and fearless nature, but more so his triumph in the face of adversity. The emotional toll of that weekend in Spa is something that not many people can fully appreciate. Most wouldn't have the mental fortitude to even step in the car, let alone deliver a race win, and then making it back-to-back victories in Monza. With 2 silver arrows breathing down his neck, he didn't crack. He held on like his life depended on it. And when he crossed the line, well, you could hear the Tifosi. That was the moment. That was when Ferrari fans worldwide realized that this kid is the future. However, the very next year, the team hit rock bottom. The car was shockingly bad. Slow on the straights, unstable in corners, and getting outclassed by the midfield. Coincidentally, this sudden drop in performance, particularly with regards to their power unit, seemed very timely. The FIA...
But like, didn't they like test it somewhere, somehow? The cars...
They mandated a second sensor to prevent Ferrari from exploiting the fuel flow system. And the result was they lost about 50 brake horsepower compared to their competitors. In addition, their aero efficiency was just poor, meaning the car was generating insufficient downforce relative to the amount of drag being produced. Correlation issues between their wind tunnel and on-track also contributed to their overall struggles. So in short, Ferrari went from having one of the fastest cars on the grid, easily top 3, to fighting at the tail end of the midfield. Leclerc was their only saving grace. How he managed to finish P2 at the season opener in Austria was some superhuman effort. And the crazy thing is, I don't even think that was his best drive of the year. The back-to-back races at Silverstone, he was on another level. Portimao, another vintage performance. Masterclass in tyre management. It was during this season that Leclerc entered the category of the elites, elevating his racecraft to the levels of Lewis and Max. One could say he was overperforming in a car that shouldn't have achieved such great results. Because while Ferrari were falling apart behind the scenes, Charles kept extracting more than most thought was even possible. So far, it's been a tumultuous journey. His loyalty to Ferrari is a double-edged sword, and there's more to it than just passion. This is about fulfilling destiny, living out the dream that was set out for his godfather, Gilles, who tragically never got the chance to experience. He also races in memory of his father, who gave everything to support his career before passing in 2017, and Antoine Hubert, his close friend, who lost his life in Spa just a day before his maiden Grand Prix victory. He romanticizes Ferrari, and he still believes that one day he'll be the one to bring Ferrari back to the top, that the years of pain will be worth it. But at what point does loyalty become self-sacrifice?
Yeah.
At some point, romanticism has to give way to realism. There's a version of history where Charles Leclerc is already a world champion, a version where Ferrari are more competent, more cohesive, and more deserving of a driver of his caliber. But that's not the world we live in. His prime years are taken away, season after season, waiting for them to get their act together. Nowadays, drivers do tend to have extended peaks into their early and mid-30s. However, that's not guaranteed. So, where does he go from here? Does he stay and continue to hope that things will change? Or does he take his talents elsewhere? And if it's the latter, then where does he even go? Mercedes seem to have Russell and Antonelli tied down. McLaren definitely have Norris and Piastri locked in. And who's to say taking a gamble and jumping ship to somewhere like Red Bull or Aston Martin would even pay off? The likelihood is that he's going to stay the course and trust that the team is going to find the right track. But if Charles stays, it might ultimately be to his detriment. Loyalty is admirable, but in Formula One, it doesn't guarantee success. Sticking with Ferrari means continuing to put his faith in a system that has repeatedly let him down. And the longer he waits, the fewer the doors that will remain open. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Leclerc's situation down in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Let's be honest, it's tough. Like, now they are talking that Verstappen will leave Red Bull, but like, I think that Leclerc should go to another team, but yeah, on which one? Red Bull? As I understand, the only guy who could drive Red Bull is Verstappen. I don't know how, but it's always looking like the other driver is just struggling. Like, even not in the middle sometimes. It's bad. It's bad. So that couldn't be the best choice. Maybe next year Audi? Or cash up. What was in the cash up? But yeah, definitely McLaren will not switch those two. Piastri and Norris, but yeah, it's sad. Like, I kind of understand that he wants to get the world championship, and like, give the honor to the uncle, right? The father and the friend. It's hard, but like, it's not the best place where to try it out if they're like destroying everything, kinda. But yeah, I really hope that you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please consider to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully I'm gonna see you next time. Take care. Bye!